It's like hee-haw.
Ooh. We went through three.
Are we just going through all the genres?
moods just now.
Welcome back to another Buddies, Booze, Banters, Unfiltered Conversations. I am Rick.
I'm Michael.
And I'm Alex.
And we actually got Alex in the camera now. This is kind of great. You know, we do actually have a guest off to the side. You know, she's actually doing some research for us, so you know, it's always good. How's everybody doing since the last podcast?
Oh, probably doing a little bit better.
I'm doing great. I had an amazing yesterday.
Yeah, no, actually yesterday was great. You know, yesterday being St. Patty's and all that. So.
Yes.
Really good day. I mean, good company, good times for everybody. And I know that Mike's going to talk a little bit about a game that he went to yesterday as well, so a little bit later on. But what I really want to talk about first and foremost, and we all know that I'm obsessed at this stage in regards to her, and that is Taylor Swift. Now,
really?
Taylor Swift.
Yeah, I mean, and again, this kind of goes back to the Super Bowl. You know, when she was up there. You know,
It was before the Super Bowl.
well, I'm saying that this particular segment is about the Super Bowl.
Okay.
And, you know, she's up there having a good time. She's pounding away drinks and what have you. And, of course, Reba gets out there and she does her, you know, and I did talk about how I wasn't impressed with Reba's, you know, national anthem. That's beside the point, you know.
You're entitled to your opinion.
Absolutely. She looked great. There's no doubt. But there was a Facebook group that came out the last couple of days and basically said that, and I'm going to kind of read it real quick, claiming that she blasted Swift for her unruly behavior during her performance at the Super Bowl. Apparently,
Wait, repeat that again. Who blamed who?
it's a group that's actually called, give me a second, I got to find that one here, America Loves Liberty. Now, I did some research on them at first because I really did think this was legit. I couldn't find them on Instagram. I couldn't find them on TikTok or Twitter or anything like that. But they are definitely on Facebook, and they got about 108,000 followers. You know, unless you kind of dig into there, you don't realize it's comedy satire. It really comes off as they're legitimate talking about this, even though they do have the conservative slant. So it's obviously conservative satire of some sort. You know, I don't really think conservatives have satire, but that's beside the point.
Some do.
But over the weekend, she came out. Reba did, and she corrected the report claiming that she'd called the pop star an entitled little brat following her February 11th national anthem performance. The report, which misspelled Reba's name, claimed that she was outraged over Swift making a mockery of the event by laughing and drinking and during her performance. Well, turns out, you know, Reba's like, I never said that, first of all. Well, there was also another rumor that Reba's going to sue him for $25 million for, you know, defamation.
I don't know how to spell Reba.
Well, no, it's
Reba.
McEntire they screwed up.
Oh, okay.
Which actually, if you really pronounce it, you can spell it. It's pretty easy. You know, so, and again, I went through their Facebook. I really wanted to see this. I mean, and some of the stupid stuff they did. I mean, I'll talk about it another time frame because I kind of pinned that one particular site down simply because I want to kind of like say, okay, the people that you're targeting with this information are going to fucking believe it.
Of
They're
course.
really going to believe it. But they ended up putting a statement out after Reba came out with her statement, and she blasted it out there. She blasted it out to her 2.whatever million individuals. Never did this. I actually said that she's going to be a superstar one day when she came down the steps and was singing directly to Tim McGraw, his song, you know, and I think it was like 2011 or something like that. You know, she goes, I love her. So absolutely, I did not say that. Well, they put out a Facebook statement when that came out. I'm thinking they were thinking, oh, we got to get our shit together real quick.
The Liberty people.
The Liberty people.
Okay.
And it's kind of crazy, but they end up saying that dearest new fans, which is I'm assuming these are individuals who are Reba and Taylor Swift fans, and they came to their Facebook page, and now they're their new fans. Reba isn't a victim of horrible rumor. Reba fell for satire. Reba can't read past the headline. Now, I don't know which is worse, basically calling her fucking stupid or basically saying she said something negative about Taylor Swift. Because both of those are negative things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Most people don't read past the headline.
That's the whole point.
Yes.
That's the whole point. These little catchphrases.
Except for Rick.
Rick?
Yeah,
Rick
also.
Rick
He
dive
seems like a
dove,
page two kind of guy.
Well, but he's
Below
dove
the
into
fold,
this.
that's what they call it.
Well, I've always done that, and I feel it's essential to educate yourself on this. Because don't get me wrong, I did just read this. I actually was out with you. And this was on, I think, Saturday, and we were at the pub. I read that from Reba. I didn't dig into it then because one, I was
Well, you had a few drinks by that time.
3 or 4 drinks in, but I posted something about it. I've deleted it since because, in fact, it was fake news. It was just, I mean, and I did denote that it was fake news and they were a liar and things of that sort. But because I didn't have the time or didn't take the time to delve into the actual topic, I was bamboozled as well. You know,
I'm shocked.
well, there you go. You know, what can you say?
Rick got bamboozled.
Yeah, I got bamboozled, but ultimately,
Were you sitting down or standing up?
Well, I was definitely sitting down at the pub.
Or were you squatty pottying it?
No, none of that. You know, I was sitting down having a probably cocktail 5 probably at that stage before we went to the game. But anyhow, so I just thought it was interesting. I really wanted to talk about that simply because this is just a great example how the extremes on the other side. And again, I'm really confused about conservatives and satire. I just don't think they go hand in hand. You know, I get the comedians and things of that sort, but conservatives, you know, they don't have a fucking phony bone in their body.
But if they go with Trump, Trump calls it all fake news. But
Well, we got plenty of time about
so
Trump
then why
today.
are they believing this if it's supposed to be fake news?
Well, who are they going to believe? Reba, who she's got a very strong conservative following, or are they going to believe this satire Facebook page? And basically calling Reba out for being stupid because she did read past the first headline. I mean, I think it's a, you know, I mean, I do believe that they were kind of scared that, you know, there'd be a defamation suit or something like that. You know, I mean,
That would've been nice.
Even if there was just a hint of it from either team.
Well, that's
whether
the
it be
only way
Taylor's.
you're going to stop all this bullshit on this is if you can sue them.
Well, and actually not get it dismissed though. That's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's look at the famous lawsuiter of all time, Donald J. Trump. I think he's up to like 5,000 or 6,000 lawsuits that in his entire lifetime that he's filed. So, and majority of them either have been dismissed or he's lost.
Well, there's been a few against him that he's lost. He owes
now,
some money.
Recently now. Oh yeah, actually, did you see that come out today?
About how he doesn't have he can't come up with the 500 million.
Nobody will give him a bond for that $500 million.
Yep.
Now he did offer $100 million, which tells me if you have so much cash that you talked about in your deposition with liquidity, and now you're saying that you can't put it up, and you can't even get a bond, which means because he can't do any of his properties, it has to be cash, you know, or something that he owns completely straight out. And he owns nothing.
Well,
straight out.
you could do property if the bonds people would take it as collateral, but none of them want it. They want cash.
No, I actually think the judge said he couldn't.
No, he can't. No, he could because if these companies do a bond, it's like you have to have something to secure it, and it's like he could secure the property, but none of these want to secure the property. They want cash.
Remember the day when Deutsche Bank would give him anything he wanted?
Yep.
Billions of dollars? Now nobody will give him $500 million. It's kind of interesting. But I know we digress on something completely we weren't going to talk about. But, I mean, I just thought it was something interesting coming out today. So the big news out there, and I think that
you mean there's even bigger news now?
Well, I think this is a wide swath of individuals that it affects. And it's been the talk of the last probably 4 or 5 days since Thursday when it actually got voted through the House, and that is the TikTok ban. TikTok. And I really kind of wanted to, dissect a little bit into that, exactly what it was. And I'm going to read a couple things. The key takeaway specifically on what the House has passed. It's been passed off the Senate. They haven't reviewed it. They are not bringing it to the floor yet. Schumer has not indicated when he would. Ultimately, I think it will get to the floor. Whether it gets the 60 votes to be passed, and whether if that does happen, Biden has acknowledged that he will sign the ban. But it's not an outright initial ban. And that's really kind of what the politicians are playing on to actually save their asses from the general public. And basically saying, it's not a ban. And Nancy Pelosi was out there front and center on that microphone saying, this is not really a ban. This is about making sure that DanceBite, which is the parent company of TikTok, sells their shares in that. And we'll get a little bit into that one. But the House of Representatives passed a bill that would require China's DanceBite to divest TikTok or face a ban completely of the social media in the U.S., impacted 170 million users. That means once it's signed by the president, they have 5 months to divest. 5 months. And there's obviously plenty of individuals out there who are looking to buy it or who are interested in buying it. Hell, there was even a rumor that went out today that the country of Israel is considering buying it, which I think that would be just an absolute ludicrous thing. The lawmakers said the application poses a national security threat due to its ties to Dance Byte, which is TikTok's China parent-owned company, citing China's concerns on the government and potentially in sharing the data, even though it's been multiple third parties proven that our data is no longer being stored in any of their servers. It has been moved into a site that is actually controlled by individuals here in the United States. They've actually banned them from government phones and tablets and computers already here in the United States. The people who are going to gain most, this is where it gets interesting.
Okay. I'm waiting for the punchline.
Snap, Meta, and the Google parent Alphabet would gain most from it, because we are talking about billions and billions of dollars of advertisement. And also the share of, because then you actually go down to, you just have shorts or you just have reels, associated to YouTube for the shorts, and you have reels associated to Instagram. No other type of video thing out there at all, because they've all tried it. They haven't been as successful as TikTok, and so you're going to literally have a decrease on market, specifically on the ability to communicate out as much as possible. And there are several U.S.-based companies that will reap the benefits of billions of dollars. And apparently there has been some back-channel talks, conversations that specifically with Zuckerberg over Meta, and that's what he wanted. He's wanted TikTok to shut down and wanted the ban forever, because he literally has not been able to mirror their algorithm. And we'll talk a little bit more about their algorithm here in a second. And we do actually have sensitive data that comes from the government side of things. But, somebody posted about how to cook a chicken, or somebody posted about, this particular product. I mean, nothing that is national security secrets. What the hell are they focused on?
I haven't been following this one, I'll be honest, not too closely. But you hear a lot of people say that TikTok, it's national security. If it's really and truly national security, then they need to do something.
Absolutely, and they have done something. They banned it from all the government apps and phones and tablets and computer systems and all that. Cleared it out. Biden already signed that. He's already made it abundantly clear that it can't.
Yeah, but it's just like, if it's still, I mean, you're hearing like some states. I think I heard Utah was thinking it. Was it Utah or Montana?
Well, they're doing it based upon their state stuff, which I get that. I mean, anything associated to any government entity, yeah, definitely ban it.
But this is where I just don't I guess the people up in D.C., our congressmen and senators. If it's that bad, then do something.
Yeah.
But they're playing games.
Well, there was one of the. His name's Jeff Jackson. He came out, and he's been extremely popular on TikTok. He had gained over like 2.6 million followers. He's a Democrat who's now running for a attorney general in North Carolina. He got kind of like gerrymandered district out as his rep. And I mean, he has literally utilized the TikTok to catapult himself, and he did it in a great way, to be honest with you. I mean, he really kind of broke down exactly how government works. And he was just sitting in his kitchen, not like, the crazy chick who did the State of the Union rebuttal. But I mean, and he talks about what's happening in the process of the government. And it's really good. I've watched him several times. He voted for the ban. So of course he's gotten backlash like 10 times over, and I think he's already lost 300,000 or 400,000 followers simply for that. And TikTok is covered literally across the board.
I mean, the younger generation I've heard that's done all kinds of campaigns to don't sign this bill, don't vote for this bill, whatever.
Well, what came out today, which was kind of interesting, is the co-sponsor, who's a Democrat, I think out of Connecticut or something like that. He basically said this isn't about a ban, yada yada. This is about the reach. Now,
well, isn't that what marketing's all about?
Exactly. So if you have dissent, if you have protest, you have an opinion, and you want to disseminate it out to as many people as possible, you have a platform that gives you that opportunity. Because there are people like, you talk about Mama Tot.
Who?
Mama Tot. Yeah. She's actually on TikTok. She actually has the most, I think, or close to enough. I think like 13.5 million individual followers. And she is somebody who just spreads love. You know, she's gone through some tragedy and things of that sort, losing her son to being murdered and all that. You know, and she's pulled through, and she's always there for everybody. It doesn't matter whether you're white, you're black, you're Hispanic, you're LGBTQ plus I. It doesn't matter. She's there for you to pass the love along, and you really got to enjoy that. You know, but she has that many followers. So if she basically, and it's true because you look at influencers, you say one thing, you can shut down a company.
Yeah.
Totally.
You know, Kevin O'Leary wants to buy TikTok. That came out today.
I'm not surprised.
You know who Kevin O'Leary is?
Yeah.
Mr. Wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that would be the worst thing ever. He's an ultra conservative.
Yeah. No, he. I'm looking at the article. It was less than 3 hours ago or so.
Yeah. No, he's been talking about it for a while now, and he's probably got a consortium of individuals, you know, which means that's a Canadian who wants to buy it. He's Canadian. You know, which is fine, you know, but I mean, but let's kind of like delve into who actually does own TikTok right now.
Okay, who?
60%.
I was gonna say the users.
Well, no, there are actually, you know, some employees as well as Americans who actually do own it. But the majority of the individuals who actually own it, give me a second here, because there was a lot of information about this today. Oh, crap. I had it here somewhere.
Getting
Michael.
old.
Talk, Michael.
TikTok, TikTok, TikTok. But it's like, if you're saying...
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
So TikTok's parent company, you know, it was actually developed by private citizens in China. So obviously I understand the initial concern there, but it was founded by, you know, just basic Chinese entrepreneurs. Once they turned the page on, you know, controlling all economic stuff, they had a lot of entrepreneurs in China. So they developed this, and buy and hold, Asians know how to do stuff when it comes to technology. Let's be honest.
Yes.
It is a privately held global company, though. It's not just based in China. And roughly 60% is owned by global institutional investors, such as BlackRock, General Atlantic, and Susquehanna International Group. 20% is owned by the company's founders. So the two entrepreneurs who did it, you know, they own 20%, and 20% is owned by its employees, including over 7,000 Americans. It's not owned or controlled by the government. Even though it's a Chinese company, they always say they have their foot in it. And I understand how that can happen because they do actually control the back end sometimes of that. But BlackRock and General Atlantic and Susquehanna International Group are all U.S.-based investment firms. BlackRock is actually publicly traded. So millions of individuals all across the world actually own it. And then, of course, the other two, we cannot get the actual ownership of them because they're all privately held investment firms. So, I mean, you have majority stake are actually in the United States who actually own the company.
Okay, so if that's the case, then what's the problem?
The problem is, like, how are they going to rectify and pay those individuals who actually lose 170 million users here in the United States, which is the bulk of the actual users worldwide? Monetarily wise, because TikTok Shop and all that, there's so much money being made on TikTok Shop right now, it's crazy.
No, my point, no. What I'm saying is like, okay, if you got all these U.S. people that own part of this, then what
Majority of it.
Okay, so then what's the security risk?
It's based in China. The Chinese government supposedly controls everybody in China. You know, again, you know, I don't know who owns ByteDance and all that. I don't even really know what that company is. I can do some more research on that one. You know, but TikTok is a Singaporean based company. They actually have headquarters here in the United States as well, and a couple others around the world in Europe. You know, it is run as CEO by a Singaporean. He is not a Communist Party member. He is not a Chinese individual. I mean, they're pretty differentiated between, you know, I'm not Chinese, and they say I'm not Singaporean. They do say that. I mean, there's always that type of stuff there. So it's political. Let's be honest. Now, the thing about it is politicians are lying to us.
No, they don't lie to us.
No, and I mean, really on this one is they're saying it's not really about a ban. It's about making sure that Dance Byte sells their shares. Okay, well, that sounds simple enough. You know? Well, guess what? Just like any other country in the world, there are anti-trade laws that the government puts into play. And the reason that they will not allow this to be sold is because just like we protect our technology here, and we protect our technology from China and Russia, Iran, whoever, all those nefarious figures out there, they're going to block it because of the secret sauce is what they're calling it. It's algorithm.
That's with every social media
It would
company.
need a technology export license granted by China to be a part of the deal. Just like if we want to sell technology from an American company to a privately owned or publicly owned American company to another, subsidy in another country or something like that, we as the government have to approve it. They're not going to approve it. So up until probably today, when I started doing this research, I thought, you're probably right. It's not going to be banned. I mean, they can't really have this backlog or slap across the face in regards to all these Americans saying, "Screw you! This is my money, bread and butter, and this is all." Yeah, they're going to ban it. It's going to be banned. China is not going to sell it.
I don't think it's going to be banned.
I think it's going to be banned. And if not, it's going to come damn real close down to it. It will shut down for a
Or
period
it's just
of time.
going to suck. It's not going to be any fun.
Well, you sell it to that Canadian guy. It's going to suck, Mr. Wonderful, Mr. Wonderful asshole.
No,
I mean, I think Facebook sucks.
like I said,
No, that's the thing about it is Facebook does suck.
Right.
And the interesting thing about it is, Trump wanted TikTok banned when he was president. He actually went so far as to, getting it going. He's against it now.
yeah, because he said Facebook and all this others would be bigger,
And he's pissed off at Zuckerberg and Facebook because it's been rumored or put out there that he lost the election because of Zuckerberg and Facebook. My point being is like, if you have misleading information and you have nefarious characters who are continuously utilizing, social media platforms out there around the world, and Facebook has the most users in the world. Meta does. You tell me that there is not some sort of espionage on technology not happening there? Come on, let's be honest.
Oh, we know there is.
So why don't you shut that fucker down? Because let me tell you something. I can't tell you how many times I get hit for hacks and stuff like that via Facebook.
I agree. I can't sell anything on Facebook because every time you do, like if you put a laptop on Facebook Marketplace, you're getting people from, other parts of the world that are.
The other thing
wanting
that
to
I
send
hate
you-
about Facebook is I've literally gone into my settings and I've actually altered my advertisement categories, and I've narrowed them down because I wasn't getting anybody's feed friend-wise. I was getting all the shit in advertisement. You know how long that lasts? 1 week. Then all of a sudden they're sending things through, and it's like, I would never be interested in that. I never talked about that, so they didn't hear it. Why the hell are they doing shit like that? I mean, so they're just dropping like crazy. I mean, they are just bombarding you, and they're making billions and billions of dollars. I mean, if we didn't have businesses associated to Facebook, I wouldn't be using it. That's the only reason I actually utilize it now, because from a personal basis, I don't get to see anybody that I want to see information-wise in their lives and what they're doing.
So just to kind of recap, it's passed. The ban passed the House.
Overwhelmingly passed.
It was by support,
hugely bipartisan.
and so then it goes to the Senate, and then you said Schumer's not.
He's not pressed to get it to the actual.
And then you
floor yet.
said is Biden said he would sign it if it passes.
Biden would sign it.
And then you said it's not a ban right away because they've got what 5 or 6
5 months to divest.
5 months to divest.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then my guess is, okay, wait, 11. Probably no. The earliest would be May. I would see is before.
I think that
because Biden could sign it, but they don't want that 5 months to run out before the election. I bet.
Well, I don't think
Democrats
I don't think they want Biden to sign it before the election. That's why I think Schumer's going to sit on it.
I could see that.
Because the minute that actually Biden does sign it, the clock starts ticking, and that means he's set off the time bomb.
Like
Right.
TikTok,
Yeah.
TikTok.
But
Yeah,
you don't want that.
exactly.
You don't. But
TikTok.
you don't want that time bomb to explode before the election.
Well, the minute that Biden signs it, he has just pissed off all the young population who vote.
Yep.
That's what they don't want. Why do you think Trump's out there also saying that he doesn't want it? Because he wants those young voters. Mm-hmm. He is stupid in most cases, and he's probably extremely losing his mental capacity at this stage. But he ain't stupid.
Yep, that's true.
But I do want to say there are countries out there that have banned it.
Yes.
And I think it's important to actually, we do talk about it. Mm-hmm. But I also want to talk about, real quick here, Bites, why.
Why
First,
what?
Why they banned it.
Oh, okay.
First and foremost, Afghanistan. They banned it. Can you figure out why?
They don't want anybody to know anything.
The Taliban banned it, saying that the platform's content was not consistent with Islamic laws. Now, we know the extreme laws associated to the Sharia and all what are those laws specifically on the Taliban, so which is extreme. Now, what I'm going to talk about real quick here is I'm going to ramble them off. These are countries that have banned them on all government, devices. Not a full ban, but just government devices. So Australia has done that. Belgium, Denmark, Nepal, the Netherlands, New Zealand, Norway, United Kingdom, and of course most of the the European Union. The ones who've really come out and banned it completely, India has, which I'm really surprised since they are actually really friends with China. But they've actually banned it because it's. They also banned another 58 Chinese applications. So I mean, I don't know if they feel they're in competitiveness with them or something along those lines. Nepal has because it doesn't create social harmony or it's disrupting social harmony, which is kind of interesting. Somalia has actually completely banned it out of concerns of terror-related content because they were utilizing that, the terrorist groups were, as well as the Telegram app out there. I don't know if you ever used them, by actually disseminating horrific images and information to the public. And of course, one that I completely fully understand banning it is Taiwan. Taiwan obviously is an adversary and is at war somewhat with China. And I could see the government doing whatever they can to try to infiltrate their systems and try to get their technology and their weakness and stuff like that. So I do definitely understand that. Pakistan as well. Pakistan has also banned it based on the content's immoral and indecent, which the interesting thing about that is TikTok, out of all the social media platforms out there, are the ones who end up banning or deleting or putting them in what they call social media jail than Instagram or Facebook or Twitter for indecent and immoral stuff. Mm-hmm. I mean, they actually have some sort of standards, whereas all the other ones who give a shit. Mm-hmm. So I just find it very interesting. As a matter of fact, I get it kind of like, really, I can't see that on TikTok? I mean, just kind of crazy stuff. But anyhow, I was going to jump onto something next because that's over there, okay? But you want to talk some sports?
No, I'm not talking sports this one.
What are you talking?
Daylight savings.
Oh, you were talking sports.
No, you get confused again.
Talk daylight savings, and then I'm going to end it with our brand new weekly segment that I've created.
All right, daylight. We just got through having daylight savings time, and there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of people that's making this a big controversy whether we shouldn't do it or should do it or not. Why?
Why?
Because I know we're on opposite sides. I could care less about this, but why?
Yeah, why? What's the big deal?
What's the purpose for it?
It's for farmers.
No, well, it's not for farmers.
No, it's not.
Okay, I thought, and I'm not being funny, I thought back in the day when farmers were farming.
Well, we ain't back in the day
they're
anymore.
Still farming, but
that's 2% of the population.
It's to
now.
change it to day, so they would work during the day.
Well,
the light.
That might have been it. But what basically
what
happens
time?
Yeah, for harvest time.
Yeah, they have equipment and shit that does that for them automatically. Robots.
This goes from March to November, and I mean in the summer months when the days are longer, they have the clock moved up, so that way it stays lighter in the evening longer. So that means people can be outside doing everything else.
Yeah,
a lot longer, but it's true.
When I lived in the UK, I mean, we don't do daylight savings there. So I mean, especially when I'm communicating with even now when I'm communicating with somebody in the UK, it changes from 5 to 6 hour differences. It's like, come on, can't you be consistent?
I mean, there's 2 states that don't do daylight savings time.
They seem to work,
and that's Arizona and Hawaii.
Mm-hmm. It's such a pain.
Well, and one reason why Arizona didn't do it, because it gets so hot there, they don't want to have more time with it being so hot. They want the evening.
Sun.
They want the evening to cool down or whatever.
Well, I'll give you one of the good reasons, and it's really more about the spring forward than actually spring back. That's actually a problem, and that's really business related in the service industry. There are so many people who don't set their clocks back, or they're working late, they get home, and they still have to be there early the next morning. They completely forget about it.
Yeah,
I mean,
I get
the productivity
I get
side of things goes down. There is
for
no
like a few days.
Yeah. Totally. There is no reason whatsoever of value for daylight savings times at this point.
But there's no reason of not I don't understand the big deal.
In the summer months, I like it better when we got that hour.
Then
extra
let's
sunlight.
keep it that way. Period.
Okay. Then you're saying stay on.
Yeah, but then
absolutely.
Time. Well, then what happens in the winter?
I'm fine with it getting dark early.
Well, and I'm talking about in the winter months or whatever. Then it doesn't get light until
9:30.
9:30 in the morning.
Oh, well.
Well, and then the one thing when they were talking about that
I'll
is it's
sleep
like
in.
even kids, there are more accidents with kids going to school because nobody can see them. It's so dark.
You know, I mean, that's really what happens over in the northern part of Europe, because obviously once you get northern, you have less sunlight and all that, especially in any day. You know, but of course, you know, during the summertime, it's light outside until 11 p.m. I love how it works over there, and I'm more about that than this here, because, you know, again, I mean, somebody who lives in one coast, you know, like what time is it? Oh, I don't know. You know, because they're sleeping longer. I mean, just crazy shit. Daylight savings, there's no rhyme or reason to it. And the sad thing about it is, I actually really agree with Marco Rubio. He's the one who's trying to get rid of it.
Well, fine. I just don't see the big problem. I see everybody complain when you lose an hour or gain an hour or whatever. And then it's like,
annoying.
it's that one day.
It's
And it's
annoying.
like, yeah, somebody's miss out that 1 hour or whatever. But people make this big thing but I see the reason for it. It's like, I love having the extra hour of sunshine in the summer. And then if you
Let's keep it that way.
But then you keep it that way, then come winter, then it's not going to get light until like 9 or 10 in the morning. And that's going to suck in the winter, because the winter's
so that means it's going to be a little bit cooler in the wintertime, because it gets hot as hell here in the winter.
I'm just saying. But you're talking about people up north. I lived in Minnesota. It's
So
just like,
what's your point?
my point was, everybody keeps complaining about this, and you look at it, you just jumped all over it saying, I don't like it, I don't like it, I don't like it.
I've told you plenty of times it
Well,
sucks.
I'm saying is, I don't see the big problem.
I don't see the
I
big
kind of
problem.
like it. Yeah, you might have one day where it's like, oh, I forgot to set my
You
clock.
know what it is? I mean, he's at that age where he likes to get up at like really early, you know like the senior citizens do.
Bullshit. No, I'm just saying is, everybody makes a big deal out of it. I mean, that's a big problem. And it's
I'll
like,
tell you
I
what.
see the value in it.
I'll tell you what. So I mean, you do actually have some points on the.
Oh, let's write
No,
this down,
no.
everybody. He said I had a point.
Let me clarify. You know, specifically about daylight. You know, time in the sun and all that. But I'm going to do some research on you, and I'm going to come up with specific items that are really detrimental in having it. And there's a reason. There's actually information that I can pull for you that it doesn't work for us. It simply doesn't.
So we've been doing this for over 60. Because
Doesn't mean we did it. Doesn't mean it was right.
But it's not worked for us for a long, long time.
I don't think it has recently worked for us.
Well, that's your opinion.
I mean, I don't see a reason for it now.
I just told you the reasons.
Yeah, bullshit. I mean, that's my opinion.
Yep.
My opinion. Anyways.
And you're in the minority.
I don't know if I am in the minority in the country, though. That'd be kind of interesting to see exactly what the differences in opinions on that.
Okay.
You know, I'll do some research.
All
You
right.
know how I like to do
we
research.
know you will.
Well, anyhow,
But you'll get it from that fake news.
No, I don't do fake news. Trust me. I dwell deep and deep and deep and deep. Trust me. You know, I mean, unfortunately, I actually end up reading a good portion of that TikTok
But we
ban.
should ask our fan base. Do you prefer the daylight?
Well, we got to have
savings
a
time?
fan base first.
All right. Well, for the ones that are currently listening, what's your preference?
Well, they wouldn't be listening. yet
If you
because we haven't
text us
posted.
now, we'll also take you to the Stars game.
But since we're not live and no one's watching us right now, probably not. You know. But anyhow, but anyways, we're going to kind of end this segment off a little bit because I'm actually this podcast. I'm actually adding a new segment, and it's a new weekly segment or new podcast. Whose phone?
Whose phone?
It's not mine.
Not
Not
mine.
mine.
That's weird. It's our researcher. It was our Mac, but that's okay. And every podcast, I'm going to do like 3 to 4 of these little points, and it's now called the Bible and the Insane Shit. You know.
Praise the Lord.
Oh, praise Jesus, you know. And I really want to talk about the hypocrisy, you know, and about the Bible in itself. And I won't go deep into it. There's so much controversy about it. And there are lots of opinions. And I get that, you know, totally get that. You know, whether it's the authorship, whether it's the dating, whether it's the contradictions, whether it's discrepancies, whether it's the canonization of it, how it's been, you know, defined over the centuries, all that stuff. I get that, you know. And again, everybody's entitled to interpret how they want to interpret it for themselves, meaning how it affects their personal lives. I get that, you know. But what I do have a problem with is how certain groups are taking it to the extreme and literally pulling out certain phrases about it and saying this is the gospel, but yet they pick and choose.
Only a certain groups?
I'm being polite here because I'm not going to stigmatize certain groups that I actually have, but so what I'm going to do is and folks, I actually got the Bible. The interesting thing about that is though, I got it from Amazon for 44 cents. So I don't know if that's just the value of the Bible right now.
I noticed you got the large print.
I did get the
version.
large print, that's for sure. And apparently it's.
So before you bought this on Amazon, when was the last time you read the Bible?
We are not going to talk about that, okay? Because
Okay.
I really literally had to delve into it and start researching. And I was like, where's that one? Where's this? And again, I was never somebody who completely read the Bible. I would listen and read the verses that the priest at the time would pull out, being raised as a Catholic and all that. But I was never one who I go to Bible study. That was never me. That was never me. My unless it's something I'm extremely interested in, I'm not going to dwell and read on something. First of all, there's no good flow on this thing.
No, you can't read it from start to finish.
Oh my God. I don't know how, and some people do. Mm-hmm. I don't understand it. It's because, there's no good flow. It's hard to read, but I'm going to talk about, today I'm going to talk about two specific passages. And the first one's going to be Leviticus 21, 18, 21.
We need some church music.
Yeah, there you go. Find some church music here. Just doing the little background. So I'm going to read it verbatim from the actual Bible, and then I'm going to get a quick little discussion on those. And again, we'll do another one as well. And then again, this is going to be a podcast segment that we do where we do certain things from the Bible just to talk about the hypocrisy.
Okay.
And to say, and it's not about the ones that the individuals pull out to use for their own gain or to use against individuals.
Pull out for their own gain?
Yeah, whether it be pro-life, whether it be LGBTQ or trans, whatever it may be, when they use it to use it against individuals in society, these are going to be about things they probably aren't going to ever use. And I just want to show that the gospel that you think it is not that. Mm-hmm. So, and I'm going to read this. And again, unless you are somebody who is study theology or something like that, it's going to be tough for you to even follow this, because I had to read it three or four times before I even got it. For no who has a blemish shall draw near a man blind of lame, of one who has mutilated face, or a limb too long, or a man who has an impaired foot or an injured hand, or a hunchback, or a dwarf, or a man with a defect in his slight of an itching disease, or scabs, or crushed testicles. I want to emphasize that one. No man of the offspring of Aaron the priest who has a blemish shall come near to offer the Lord's food offerings, since he has a blemish. He shall not come near to offer bread to God. So basically, if you want to kind of put it in layman's terms, according to the Bible, people who are born or acquire some sort of, defects or disabilities throughout their lives cannot approach the altar of a church. They cannot make an offering to God because they have a blemish. Christians always are saying God loves everyone, but this list clearly excludes individuals with disability if we follow the Bible. So this is the segment is let's talk reality. Are you going to sit here and say are you going to say Greg Abbott, who's in a wheelchair, cannot give an offering to God because he has a disability? Because that's what it's saying in the Bible. So if you're going to sit here and say, I'm reading the Bible and I'm going to practice the Bible, then practice it. We're more than happy to get him out of office. Let's be honest. Now, I don't know what this one is. I don't even know how to say it. Determinty or something like that. Anyways, it's DEUTERONOMY. Whatever. And it's actually 22/20/21. So... And this is very short, and this will be the last one before we kind of, close out this particular segment of the podcast. Let's see where it is. Oh, there it is. But if the thing is true, that evidence of virginity was not found in the young woman, then they shall bring out that young woman to the door of their father's house, and the men of her city shall stone her to death with stones, because she has done an egregious thing in Israel by whoring her father's house out. So basically, and this isn't about somebody who has sex. I mean, even though there is some, some inferences there, there are a lot of female gymnasts who their hymen has actually, there's been an issue with their hymen. They have some sort of injuries or stuff like that, so the hymen goes away. And basically, you're saying that they are no longer virgins. They've never had sex, but because of some sort of accident they've had as a young child in sports or any type of accident, they are now to be stoned to death because they've whored their father's house out. So again, it's some far-reaching points that I'm making out here, but again, 3,000 times this Bible has been interpreted, 3,000 times has been rewritten. There's multiple authors, there's multiple interpretations, the canonization, whether it be the Romans, the Greeks, you name it, it's been out there. So bottom line is we're going to have some fun with this over the next couple of years. We really are.
Now, hearing you talk about this, which is trying to stay awake anyway, but I was listening. But it kind of reminded me of something that I kind of just saw maybe a few weeks ago. I think it might have been on TikTok, where they do the videos. There was this the TV show The West Wing that was on a long time ago.
Oh, when the president went off on that.
There was this. It was a news conference, and this one woman that I guess kept quoting Bible verses and everything else and she was having this all kind of power and everything else and all this stuff. And finally, in one news conference, then he basically started going. He made it said, okay, the Bible says guys are supposed to.
Oh no, there's a series of. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull that down in our next podcast. We'll play that.
Okay, because it was pretty cool.
Absolutely. I mean, besides the fact it was truthful what he was saying, and it was dead on,
and put her in her place.
Absolutely,
and she was sitting down, and he said, when you address the president, you stand up, and then she stood up.
I think that was a little bit arrogant, but I mean, bottom line, the points that he was making specifically about the Bible and exactly how it's being interpreted, if you went by the actual words.
But the video I was talking about.
I do.
I thought that was pretty cool. And that kind of hit the point there.
That is an actual classic one, and I can tell you right now, he got some. The West Wing got some kickback on that one too.
Well,
no. Anyways,
I thought it was good.
Anyways, thank you for joining us today on Buddies, Booze, and Banters, Unfiltered Conversations. We look forward to seeing you again. I am Rick.
I'm Michael.
And I'm Alex.
We'll see you later. Bum, bum, bum.